Now you can hear me? Should be fine now. Oh, okay, great. Wonderful. Guys, okay, great. So as I was saying, sorry about that, technical issues. Um, as I was saying, we'll go through some of the stuff that I did yesterday, also still doing, and we'll talk about scenarios, how to build the right scenarios. Seriously, Hussein? How to build the right scenarios in order to give yourself leverage and edge in your trading, basically. So, okay, let's do that. I'll share my screen and we'll go through that. Obviously, if you guys have any symbols you want to talk about, anything like that, feel free. And so we will start. Let's go to the MetaTrader first and talk a little bit about the NASDAQ I'm in right now. Actually, took that yesterday. And let me show you how it went. I mean, as you can see, I'm down like 300 bucks. I actually started to short it right here yesterday, just after the opening bell or so. Or actually, before the opening bell, started to short it. It went a little bit against me, a little bit to my favor. I only took 0.2 twice. So, when it dropped here, I couldn't really take any partial. Once it bounced against me, and as I mentioned many times before, when the price goes against you, you can easily add more to your position. It all depends on if you're within the risk parameters, right? So if I'm risking $100 and those two, when the price went against me, I was down $50, then I'm still okay to add more to my position because I'm only losing $50 compared to what I'm willing to lose. That is a full $100, right? So I added more right here. And then when it pops again, I added more. And then it dropped to my favor. I actually missed that. I wasn't in front of a computer, but I could have definitely could have closed that trade when it broke down. Sorry, when it broke down, because even those 0.2s and those 0.2s were in the money pretty nicely. So in that case, I just missed that. It reached a major support level, as you can see, that red line that I marked before, and then popped up again. Today, sideways, dropped a little bit, and made a nice move here. And right now, as you can see, going strongly against my trade. And to be honest, it looks pretty bad. But again, I'm only losing at the moment $300. So in my case, at least, the risk that I'm willing to take is much higher than $300. So even if it will go against me, I can. There is a specific technical place to add more to my position. I can do that because my risk currently is lower than what I actually plan to lose, right? So looking at the chart on the Nasdaq, the NQ, I'll take the hourly chart. We talked about it all the last few weeks or so. Made a huge bounce from this support level, We took those shorts, made a huge bounce from this support level, now reaching the area of resistance. So in my eyes, even if it will pop up, and to be honest, it looks like it can move to the upside. So even though I can give myself enough space, there's like roughly 50 points for the Nasdaq to reach that resistance, the next major resistance. So I can play with those levels, add in the right place, and that should be okay for that trade. So I'm okay if it will go against me, as long as I'm within the risk parameters. And that's the most important element in risk that you need to remember and work with. Other option, and we talked about it as well, I can close that trade right now because it doesn't look good, and then only then go again once it will reach those levels. In my eyes, again, the mic, really? So again, in my eyes, I'm looking to add more to the position once I'm within the risk parameter. I'm not using a stop loss like a hard stop loss in the system. I know what I'm willing to lose. Guys, just a mic check. Okay, so mic, yeah, you can't hear me. Audio is okay. Okay, great, thanks. So I'm not using, yeah, okay. I'm not using a hard stop in the system, but I know, if I'm in front of the computer, I can click the mouse key and just get out of that trade whenever I need. Okay, thanks, guys. So this is the idea. Watching the NQ for the moment. I thought it will drop yesterday already and give me like 200 points of a down move, reaching those 15,000 level, but it didn't. Generally speaking, like on a bigger time frame picture, it does look good to the downside for at least a pullback to those 15,000 points, but it didn't make it yesterday. Hopefully it will do that today. Just don't want to wait. Just don't want to see it pop very hard and then drop. Okay, Nanan, regarding the no stop loss equal bad trader. I've been around for a while to say that I'm okay, but I had my moments, yeah, that I lost nice amount of money. And again, when you're using a stop loss, and that's fine to put a stop loss in the system, yeah. The idea is to have a stop loss, like a mental stop loss. Doesn't matter if it's in the system or not. You have a stop loss where you say, okay, that's it. From here, I'm out, right? And obviously, before you enter the trade, that's fine. But you don't really need it in the system if you are able to click the mouse key once you saw the loss. Okay. I don't know why the mic looks pretty good. Okay, so let's focus on the setups and trading. And like I said, if you want, just feel free to add your symbols and talk a little bit about them as well. So that was the NQ that I took yesterday. I also took CLDX. We talked about it yesterday in a session that I did with Benzinga, and that was a very classic one because CLDX just broke pretty nicely after earnings, moved very nicely to the upside. Once it couldn't really break through the resistance of around 33, 32 something, it dropped down. So basically on the 1 minute, it was kind of nice to start scaling in. And this is what I did once it popped up again. So it opened with a gap up. For those of you trading only Forex, Uh, Sometimes most cases you won't see gaps, but in stocks trading, in equities, you will see a lot of gaps, especially on the earnings season. So that's a huge gap from 26 all the way to 32. So once it broke it, retested it, I started to add to my position. It went against me a little bit. I added more. Again, within the risk parameters, that's the most important thing. And then it broke pretty nicely. I'm still holding some of the position, but it looks pretty good. Still a lot of gap here. Okay, so these are the two things I did yesterday. We can talk about stuff for today on the equity side and talk about those scenarios and how to build them, because this is one of the things I really like to do at pre-market before the opening bell. And obviously you can do that also in Forex, commodities, anything that you actually trade. The idea is the same. So okay, so what I do is basically go to a symbol that I would like to trade. Let's say um, Uber for today, because it's after earnings, and you can see that it gapped down, basically traded down, now up. Right now at around 46, so 46.70, so a buck and something below yesterday close. That was yesterday close. Right now we are trading here. And what I'll do is first, obviously, if there are news, then I'll go to the news, try to understand what type of news. So are we talking about upgrades or downgrades coming from big banks? Or are we talking about new product coming in, lawsuit, anything like that? Try to understand how how big is the news and how the impact of the news will be. And afterwards, I'll go to the hourly chart, mark the levels that I see that basically can stop the stock from progressing up or down. So, for example, at around 47.50 right now. So I'll just go and mark the levels. I can see there is a gap 2 days ago. I can definitely mark that. Small gap, but still around 46-ish, 46.50. Then I can um, I can look for more levels. For example, this one, right at 47.50. That's a classic one. Resistance, support, resistance. Broke through that support from yesterday. Right now we're right on the spot, 47.50. And at the top, I also want to mark the levels as well. So it's a bit far, around 40, 49-ish, at around this area of 49, maybe a little bit higher than that. So once I have those levels and I understand, so once I have, I'll look in the chat in a second, guys. Once I have the levels and I understand what's my range basically is, I can start building the scenarios. Now, the reason you want to build scenarios beforehand is, I said it before as well, this is for two reasons. One will be a mental reason, just to prepare yourself, because once you will see the scenario occurring, you can actually execute the trade on the mental side, execute the trade more easily. It will be, um, a little bit more free. So you don't really need to be nervous about clicking the mouse key. You understand what you see. You already planned ahead, so it's easier for you to click the mouse key. And second, you create those scenarios on both sides because you don't really know if the price will go up or down, right? The idea of predicting, a lot of the times, especially at the beginning of the year, many close friends or family that will send me a WhatsApp and ask me what to do and what's the market will do in the next year or so, right? And obviously, for me as a trader, it doesn't really matter for all of us it shouldn't, because we trade in what we see, right? So it doesn't matter if the market will crash this year or will go higher. We will trade on short-term levels, so it doesn't matter. We will have many days that it will drop easily or go higher. So in our case, once we will have the scenario for both sides covered, then we can actually we'll be able to execute it easier, and we don't need to be biased on one side. I can create a scenario for the downside, create one for the upside. Each one of them that will arrive, I will be able to trade it, right? So in this case, 47.20 right now. I'll go to the 1 minute chart because I'm trading 1 minute chart most cases. If you trade something else, a bigger time frame, that's fine. And you can already see that the levels actually played very nicely. 49, and the 47 that we saw, and the 46.50. So all levels actually played with the price. And what I can do is this. I can tell myself this. Once we break that support level that we saw that already acted as support before, and also from the hourly chart, then if we retest it, then we can continue to the downside. How far I can go, that's easily to decide right now, at least, because we have those lows from the pre-market. So in that case, dropping down below 47.50, retesting it, then dropping down all the way to 44.50. So that gives us roughly $2 to the downside, $1.50 or so. That's one scenario. Now, again, I don't really know if that will happen, right? It might shoot up and never look back, or maybe even drop down, break the 46.50 and want to retest, want to pull back and just drop down all the way, right? So I don't really know what will happen. But once I have those scenarios, it's easier for me to execute the trade. So if it will drop, retest, I know that I'm in a good place to short that stock, right? And I know already where to start covering my short at around those levels at 44.50. One scenario. Another option, and in most cases, I won't take the middle range, like in this case. So another option will be let it ride, let it do whatever, and then it will break through that 49 level. Again, retest it, then go long. And I one more scenario, and we will need to see that in real time, all of those obviously created, reaching that resistance and then dropping down. So basically shorting the top. That will be a little bit harder to recognize. So you do need to pay attention. How do we go higher to that level? So how do we reach that level? Are we doing it with a lot of momentum? What's the level 2 shows us? What's the volume is once we reach that? So basically that will be a little bit harder to recognize, but this is definitely something to look for as well. Sorry. The other one will be much easier, a breakthrough, a retest, than going higher. Where to? We need to go back again to the hourly chart and try to see what will be the next level if we are breaking through the 49. So let me see, let's take the daily chart, going back, looking for that next level. That's the 49-ish. So if we break in that, what will be the next stop for the stock? Kind of see the 50. We do have like a small one at around 50.20, 50.20. So that's a bigger range, but you can play with this or at around 51.40 all the way to 52. That's the area I would mark. And this is the area you can start looking to take your profits. So one scenario for the downside, the other one for the upside. Again, I don't really know first if we will see one of them occurring, and I don't really know if it will go up or down. And this is something that most of you, I guess, heard about before. Trade your plan, right? So this is the plan, and once you see that, you can execute the trade. The beauty of that is that it won't let you start doing something that's not occurring on your screen. So, for example, if I didn't have those scenarios, in most cases, I would have said to myself, okay, maybe I'll go short here, or maybe I'll go long here. But once I have the scenario, I know exactly what I need to do. This is my plan. It could not happen. I can look at the chart and no plan will arrive, so it doesn't matter. The price can shoot up to 60, but if it didn't give me the chance or what I wanted to see, then it doesn't matter. Also to the downside, maybe from here it will drop to 30. Doesn't matter because this is not the trade I wanted to take. But if it will do one of those two scenarios that I wanted to take, then I can be more confident in that trade. And I can say to myself, okay, I did my analysis. This is the plan. I executed the plan. And as traders, obviously, this is what we want to do. The outcome of it, the money, profit or loss, will be no matter what, right? The only thing that we can do, and I guess generally in life as well, is just prepare ourselves and do the plan, trade the plan. Once we did that, that's it. Doesn't matter. The rest is not up to us. You know, obviously we have the trade management, but generally speaking, you can't really control the outcome. So that's the idea. Any asset that you will take, I'll do the same. I'll prepare myself first. So I won't go, the market will be open in 7 minutes and then that's it. I'm taking an asset and clicking the mouse key, right? I want to give myself enough space to prepare myself, to analyze the chart, try to build those scenarios. And once I have it, then I can execute according to the plan. If I'm not doing that, I'm automatically going against the odds. And let's say we are already the underdogs anyway, so let's try to, shrink it or decrease that. Okay, I'm looking at your at the chat. Disney, okay. And also, you know what, Visenk, also on Disney, for example, if you're not sure, you don't know how to read it, you don't feel okay with that, that's fine. I mean, you can skip it, especially, when trading stocks. This is something definitely an advantage when trading stocks because you have so many symbols. No worries. If you don't see yourself or don't understand what the chart shows you, skip it. But let's look at it for a second. Disney in the last few days. Okay, so I'm in an hourly chart. Look at it, Disney. First of all, going back, you can see it dropped from 103 all the way to 80, and then basically consolidating, right, ranging between 80 to 86. So this is something for intraday will be okay, but for if I'm trying to use, we talked about it previously, if I'm trying to use the bigger time frame to give me another edge in my trading, then in that case it's going to be harder to do so because we are ranging. I would love to short it at around this level, for example, or go long at around this level, right? But we are kind of in the middle of it. So so I don't have those guys that will come and push the price for me, either here or here. So this is one thing I would watch for, but still trying to look for a trade. So this is the area you want to mark, of course, the 83.50ish. You have this resistance, the support, another support, resistance. Yesterday support as well. So this is a good area you want to build yourself around, or try to get this by the dip situation. Once you have the levels, again, you can drop to the 1 minute and start building your scenario. Let me see if we can create something out of it, because today I don't see a lot of activity there. Open roughly where it closed yesterday. We still got this gap open, so I can mark that as well from 2 days ago. So one scenario will be dropping down, reaching those levels, and then popping up. So buy the dip kind of situation. It will be easier if you can time it with the market. So buy the dip mode. And again, you need to give yourself enough space to play with those levels, because you have a level from 83.60 all the way to 83.30, right? So that's 30 cents that you need to give yourself, at least to give yourself to play with the level. So it might drop, you will buy it will drop again to try to reach those numbers here, and then only then bounce up, right? So give yourself enough space to play with that. And like I said, you can easily scale in. You don't really need to add to your position or start your position with a full risk. Like I said, let's say if it's $100, you don't really want to risk everything. Okay, so that's on Disney, what I see so far, at least. I don't know about the rest of it. I mean, there are some nice level they can break, retest it, but I wouldn't do that unless we will get out of that range, those two gray areas that we marked before. Okay, that's Disney. Michelle, I can check that for you. If I'm not mistaken, you don't need a hard stop, but I can check that. Okay. Regarding Azmat, you're saying regarding if the price go, like you said, parabolic, then you still can click on the mouse key. I mean, to close the trade, it takes 5 seconds top, right? So let's say you're risking $100 and you're in that trade and you $80 minus $80, right? And all of the sudden the price just shoot up. So instead of losing 100, you will lose 120. You know, so in this specific trade, it will go against you dramatically, or 130. Obviously, not all trades will be right on the spot, right on the $100. Okay. All right. Let's see what's going on. The market just opened. Actually wanted to go a little bit further and look to a few more stocks, because DDOG also looked good. Huge gap up from 80 all the way to 99. Let's look at the daily chart for a second to see if we have anything around it. Okay, look at that. So this is definitely the level you want to mark, right? The what's that? 102, right? 102, and then the close of the gap at 106. It's obviously a stock that can easily move. So we can definitely look to short it, for example, at the 102. And you still have this gap that we just closed right here. That's a small one, but you can mark that. So those are two levels below that you can play with. So these are the levels going in to 1 minute chart. If you have activity during the pre-market, as you can see the gray area, then you definitely want to look at the chart with the pre-market. So I got two scenarios on my mind right now. One will be to drop and cross those numbers, cross those levels, retesting them, one or two of them, and then continue to drop because that's a huge gap after earnings. One option looks like the good one. The other one will be breaking through that 102, retesting it, and then continue higher. We just need to understand, okay, we mark that. So we do have enough space to the 106 to reach that support resistance level, the next resistance. So like $4 all the way up. Obviously, the stop here should be wide because the stock can know, it knows how to move. To the downside, we have plenty of room because that's a huge gap. So 50% could be easily be done in a few minutes. Okay. Let's go back to the NQ. Okay. So we broke to a new high. That was yesterday. This is today. We're still in that range that I marked before. This is a hourly chart. We need to see if we are closing below it. If we will, then it will give me more confirmation that the price will drop. If not, the next level should be, like I said, like 50 points above it. And I will try to look for the upside, the short side, of course. Okay, DDOG drop in. Let's look at Uber. We talked about that. Okay, so Uber tested at support 46.50, bounced up, still ranging, so we cannot do anything about that. We got to give it enough space or enough time to get out of that range so we can actually start looking for that trade. Let's look at gold. Ooh, I missed that. We talked about it a few weeks ago, going short around here. That didn't work. Continued to 2020 or so, now dropping down nicely. Let's see if we got something here. We are in that range or that support level currently. Dropped a little bit below it, but still holding that place. Okay. Let's see if we have anything we can do around it. The bounce, we missed it a bit. So currently I don't see it. On Trader Pool, you can actually trade the GLD. That's the ETF for the gold. Or you can trade all those all the companies related to gold like AEM, AU, NEM, those stocks related. Gold, GOLD. So, okay, let's see what else. Let me know if you have anything else as well. PLTR, no. So I'm looking for volume and I'm looking for movement, right? Let's see, also some penny stocks, ALTO, dropping after earnings from 5, cut down to 2. Let's put up the hourly chart. That was a nice drop on earnings. So 2 at around 2. Again, looking for that support resistance levels. We do have this area right here. So at around 210. No, Siri for some reason thought that I talked to her. So 210-ish, maybe we reach that. The low of the day is at 213. Yeah, so we basically reached that. That's a nice support. Resistance level at the top at around 230-ish. So we also played with that as well. So in that case, I would look to either short it or long it, but only outside of the range. You got to see a movement outside of the range in order to understand that we still have we have enough space to work with. Potentially for the downside, because we got plenty of room all the way to the 185-ish. Let's look at oil. Okay, crude. All right. Major level at 77.50. So we still got a few bucks, like a buck and a bit to reach that. But technically, I can mark the level already from here. So my idea will be to go long just by looking at the level. The level is pretty strong. We're dropping all the way from 90 to 78-ish. So continue to drop will give us a nice place to start building the position. And again, here you need also to give yourself enough space to play with it, right? So not just going all in one chunk. You want to give yourself that ability to build the position and go in chunk by chunk, just tiny bit, right? So if it will drop, this is an hourly chart, so it could be even today, drop into 78.20, that will be a great place for me to start buying, drop into 77, 78, and then 77.50-ish will be another place to add more to the position and basically build it as we potentially see a bounce from those levels. So we are fairly close to that. It could even be done today, maybe in the next few minutes. You can, on a 15-minute chart, you can see that we already have a nice diversion, like a positive diversion, 2 lower lows, while the MACD creating 2 higher lows, or trying to create, still didn't close it yet. And that makes sense and also help us to see that if the price will drop to those levels, that will give us another indication that it might change direction. Going back to DDOG, it held that support level very nicely, the 96.15. Didn't break it. Actually wanted to see a break, but it didn't. Held it very nicely, shoot up. So now we wait, right? Sorry. Now, of course, some of you might say, you know what, from 96 all the way to 99 or 100, we still got plenty of room, and that's fine. That could be your trade if this is what you're looking for. Um, so that's totally fine. If this is what you're aiming for, or this is the setup that you usually trade, that's fine, because you do have enough space to make a trade here, right? But um, at least in my eyes, you need to get out of that scenario or out of that range, so you will have enough space and more people will jump in, or people or algos will jump in, right? And once you do that, once you're on the side where a lot of traders are actually piling in, then you will get an automatically a push potentially to your side. So still want to see it below those levels, retesting them and then dropping down. And like I said, the second scenario will be breaking through, retest, and then going up. But in my eyes, I would have seen, I would want to see a drop and a retest, and not that push to the upside. But we will see. Okay. I'm going back to some of the questions. I think I missed a few. Okay, cool. CLDX stop. Again, not really a stop, right? Not hard in the system. Let me look at that for a second. I believe it was above the highs. Oh, okay. So going back to CLDX, that was my stop. This level right here. Let me go back to hourly chart. I guess we will see that. Yeah. So this is the level, right, Scott? So you have this resistance, then support, and this is basically the area I would have got out if it would have did like bounce up. Alexa, yeah, in most cases, I would look for two scenarios on the chart, yeah. Because I don't really know if it will go up or down. You can't really know that. But if it will, I want to be prepared for both. Yeah. Okay, Rafu, thanks. Okay. So it was a nice drop at the beginning from the Nasdaq, now reaching all the way up. In order for me to add, let's talk a little bit about that. To add more to my position, I'll take the 5-minute chart. For those of you maybe just got in, so yesterday before the opening bell, I shorted it here, added more at the top. It dropped. I couldn't get out. Actually, not couldn't, but I wasn't in front of the computer and I didn't have take profit. Maybe that was a mistake because this is a specific level that I looked at before. Anyway, it popped up sideways, then again today popping up. So my idea right now is to wait for a place where I can add more to my position, right? Either if it will go to my favor or against me. Again, I'm in a floating loss of 300 or so, and this is okay for me to lose anyway. So I can add more to my position because I have enough buffer. I only took 0.002, as you can see. So the idea is to find for the negative side. The idea is to find the next level, and we talked about that. The level above, roughly 50 points from here, and the the other option is that it will continue to my favor. I can leave it like that, and just let it drop again, and maybe try to take some partials here at around this level, give it enough space to drop down more. But in order to make it like a bigger trade and a better trade, I would look for places to add to my position while I'm in that trade, right? So let's say it will drop. Let me know, let's do that. Let me know, where do you think I can add to my position if it will go to my favor? Okay, let's do that. Let me know, where do I need to add to my position if it goes to my favor? So as you can see, currently going against me, but if it will go to my favor, where should I add more to my position? Look at the levels, try to understand where should sellers will be more aggressive or come in and push the price. I'm talking about when it will go, let's say if it will go to my favor, right? I'm shorting it right now. So if the price drop. Okay. Below support, give me a number. Let's see. So we can do a few things here, right? Since that was a pivot point, a place where the market shifted and didn't drop below it, we can mark a level from here all the way to the next. Let me mark it again, all the way to the next low, right? So this one could be a nice place to see how the market will react to that, and if it will break it, and even better, retest it, then that will be a great place to add more to my position. I will be in the money because those are, you can see the dash, green dash lines. So those are my entries. If it will break it and retest it, I will be in the money, and that will give me also a nice confirmation that the price might drop to the downside. So, and to test those levels from previously, right? This could be an area where you would look to add to the position. Another one will be quite similar, quite the same, where I'm at right now, 1510, because you can easily see that's a price we played around with before. So this is it, right? A quick support, break, retest, didn't hold, then a push to that again, holding the position and breaking through again. So this is also a great place, similar, very similar to the trend line, the break and the retest, where we can add more to the position. And of course, if we are aiming for a bigger trade and analyzed it and think that this is the case, then we can also add once we break that major support that held pretty nicely at around 1580, retesting it, and then dropping down again. But this is only if you're thinking that the price will drop another 100 points or so. So this is also a scenario. We are talking today about scenarios, how to build scenarios. So we talked about how to build scenarios for entries, but this is also building scenarios for where to add to your position, right? Either against you or to your favorite. But once I have this on the chart, or at least in my mind, it will be much easier for me to click the mouse key and actually add more to my position on the right spot and not before, and not maybe at all, because sometimes when you see the price goes against to your favor, you're only thinking of where do I take my partials, right? How do I get out of that trade and take my money? But if you already planted and you created that scenario, now it's easier for me, for anyone that trading like this and building the scenarios, is actually much more easier to just add to your position. Mentally, you're focusing on how to execute the scenario and not how to execute the the exit point. So that's the idea of creating scenarios within your trade for the worst and the best, and for the good, right? If it goes against me, where do I add? Creating the scenario. If it goes to my favorite, where do I add? Creating scenarios. And now I know exactly what I want to see and where I will execute that trade, basically. The add into the position. So try to do that. This is like a just an assignment or homework. Try to do that for a week or so. Give yourself that preparation. Do that preparation. If you're trading stocks or Forex, doesn't really matter. Create scenarios to enter the trade. Create scenarios to manage that trade, right? And try to follow that. If it doesn't, if the price would have dropped and not holding that support level, then I'm not gonna add to the position. The only reason I added yesterday here at the top, that because I reached that resistance level and that was my scenario, right? Add to the position once it reached the resistance. So if I'm not seeing what I want to see, then I don't really care. The market, you gotta play hard to get, okay, right? You want to see, you want the market to show you what you want to see and not the opposite. So don't chase the market. Wait until the market will give you what you want to see. And you can tell the market, go F yourself if you're not doing what I want to see. Tomorrow will be another day. There are many fish in the sea, and I can go to a different asset to trade if you don't want me to trade on you. Yeah, like metaphorical. So once you have that attitude, you don't really feel stressed to execute any trade. You want to see something. If you don't see it, fine. I'll go to a different asset. I'll wait for tomorrow to see my scenario, right? So this is something you want to keep in mind. Try to give yourself that for a week or so. Play with it, and let me know if it works. Okay. So before we wrap it up, let's look at some of the stuff we talked about. Let's see if we have anything. I'm looking at Uber. Okay. So Uber, we did say we tried two scenarios, right? One dropping down below, retesting it, didn't happen. Don't care. The other one, actually three scenarios. The other one reaching that top, trying to sell it. I don't see it yet, for now at least. It did reach it nicely. Maybe it will drop, but this is not the trade I want to take. The other one will be breaking through, retest it, and then go long. We might see that. On DDOG, It just broke that resistance level, just broke through that resistance level. Now we want to see if it can hold. I rather see something a little bit more um, like more momentum to the upside. So not tiny candles. I would rather see a nice, we can still see that, but a nice move to the upside, a classic retest, a few candles retesting the support, holding it, and then go long. That could be interesting. And we might see that. So this is something to continue to watch. And besides that, as we said, the NASDAQ, the NQ pushing higher. I'm waiting for that moment. This is something crucial when it comes to adding to your position, especially when it goes against you. I'm waiting for that right moment, because you can go into that trade not on the specific moment or not on the specific price, because you enter in with small amount of risk, right? Like we said, if we're risking $100, the first click, the first execution will be $20 risk, not the full 100. So in that case, I don't really care if I'm mistaken by a few points or a few cents, a few pips. But now that I'm down and I'm basically looking for to add to my position, I would look for I would try to be more focused on and more accurate on adding to the position. So I won't just add just because of it. I will wait for the right setup, a setup that I would short generally anyway, and that will be the cue. So the idea for me is that the price will drop. That's at least what I'm looking for. It might pop a little bit more, then drop, then push higher, and then I'll take that short and add more to my position. So I need to give myself that time until I see the right setup to short, basically. Right now it's a bit um, strong, and the momentum is kind of strong at the moment. So I would let it play just a little bit more before shorting it and adding to more to the position. All right, guys. So I think we can wrap it out. Thanks so much for coming, and I'll see you next time. Good luck. Take care. Let me know what you think about the scenarios and the scaling in that we talked about. You can send an email, write it in the chat, in the Facebook group, Twitter, whatever, and it will be interesting to hear your thoughts. Bye, guys. Take care.